Hi my loves, welcome to this week's podcast. This is a Mum Boss at Home community check-in podcast. This is where my online group clients in my Mum Boss at Home community get to check in. They get to ask questions, they get to share their challenges, and I go through all of that and I help them. And subsequently I help you because I put this out as a podcast, so aren't you lucky? If you are listening to this and you think, oh, I'd like a little bit more support from Chrissy and I'd like to know how I can be involved in the at-home community, or if you want something a little bit more on the one-to-one support level, then you will find all of the links to get in contact with me in the show notes. Okay, so it's Monday afternoon when I'm recording this. I climbed Snowdon at the weekend. I thought I'd got away with it quite easily, but my back's a bit sore this afternoon, and I think that might be from the 2 6-hour drives to and from, and then 8 hours of walking up a mountain. So my challenge to myself is now almost 2:10. My challenge to myself is that when I am done with recording this podcast for you lovely lot, I'm going to get outside for some fresh air, walk the dog, try and loosen off my back a little bit, and then come home and do some stretching. I made myself a little protein hot chocolate to keep me going. Little tip for you, that if you like a little afternoon pick-me-up, just mix a teaspoon or two of chocolate protein powder. Mine is Awesome Supplements chocolate salted caramel, it's vegan. But mix some chocolate protein powder with some boiled water and you get yourself a hot chocolate, protein hot chocolate. It's delicious. Right, so we have got lots of wins to read out here. Let's go through them. So Claire managed 2 of her 3 workouts, which is better than the one that she did last week. So she was really tired after returning to work from holiday last week and struggled to find the energy to work out. So well done, Claire. Laura has lost 8 pounds since she started. She's had a meal out with family and had exactly what she wanted, just not had pudding. She's not been hungry. She's enjoyed the food that she's eating and she's enjoying doing less cardio. So when she came to me, she was doing loads and loads of cardio. Her energy's increased dramatically, and she even feels that her hair feels thicker, which is amazing. And she recognises now that her body was exhausted before. Now, I normally just rattle through all of the wins here, but I think it's really important to talk about this. Wednesday's podcast, so I've started doing 2 podcasts a week. My Monday's always a check-in podcast and Wednesday's podcast is always another topic podcast. But I'm going to talk about on Wednesday effective exercise. Okay, that's the topic of Wednesday's podcast, because I've had quite a few conversations with clients about this over the last week or so. And I think it's really important to recognise at this point, and like I said, I won't go into it in too much detail because of Wednesday's podcast, but that if you are exhausted, if you are exhausting yourself with loads of cardio, more is not always better. And the problem is, if you're doing loads and loads of exercise, whether it's cardio or whether you're training, for an hour, 7 days a week, weight training, and you're not an athlete, you are not giving your body time to recover. And that recovery is super, super important, okay? But also, because you won't be giving your body that time to recover, you are likely to be overeating because of that exhaustion. I talk about lack of sleep being a reason that you might find it difficult to stick to your calorie deficit if you're trying to lose fat, or even, if you're trying to maintain, you will struggle if you have lack of sleep. The same is true with rest and recovery. We need to rest and recover because we need for the muscles to repair, we need for everything to do what it needs to do. But also, if you are exhausted because you are overtraining, you will want to eat to bring up that energy. So I just thought that was a really important part to mention after Laura's win. So thank you, Laura. Protein hot chocolate. Helen is really considering what she's eating and why, and I love that she's put the why in there. I'm enjoying my treats more and eating them mindfully. Brilliant. Well done, Helen. Jackie has maintained exercise and healthy eating. Lisa's worked out twice last week and starting to really enjoy how her body's feeling. She also ran up 4 flights of stairs twice on Friday instead of using the lift at work. And she knows that she's got a few social things coming up, and she's actually thinking about how she can still fit in exercise instead of using it as an excuse not to exercise. That's great. Well done. So Sophie kept up her steps all week and stayed mainly within her calorie targets. Well done, Sophie. Hannah's win is steps, exclamation mark. So Hannah hit between 8 and 10,000 steps every day except Wednesday, which is always Hannah's tricky day because it's her long work day. So she always struggles with movement on a Wednesday, but she's still on the Wednesday scheduled a walk and did over 5,000 steps that day. Well done. Claire was reasonably, easy for me to say, reasonably on track with food and exercise in spite of a stressful week. Tish ran 8k in the week and stuck to all her planned workouts. Well done, Tish. Need a slurp, hold on. Stacey is back to a better routine. She ate well, tried new recipes, got her son cooking with her and spent quality time with the family. Well done. Jamie committed to doing 10k steps Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and she did. And she was only 200 steps out after pacing the kitchen at 11 p.m. on Friday. Okay, loves. I know what it's like to want to get a streak on your smartwatches, but you don't need to be pacing the kitchen at 11 p.m, especially if it's going to interfere with your sleep, right? Steph averaged 10,000 steps a day this week and did 5 workouts. Well done. And Janet has been making time for her and looking after herself. Well done. Thank you, everyone. Now, there's something I want to say before we go into challenges and questions from everyone, which is if these check-ins, and for those of you listening that aren't part of my community and haven't coached with me before, these check-ins are your opportunity to really reflect on what's gone well as what you need to change and what could do differently. And I noticed that there are a few of you that don't check in even when you know that check-ins are super powerful. And there's a couple of people here who have checked in and have said, I've had a really tough week and I don't feel like there are any wins. Okay, to one of you, you celebrated a birthday. That is a win. Okay, you celebrated the day of your birth and you know, making it to another year older, which some people don't make it to. So I think that is a bloody amazing win. So well done you and happy birthday. But some people, you know, there are some who have said, I really don't feel that like there was a win, but I still wanted to check in because I understand the value of the process. Okay. And I really want to encourage everyone, even when you are having a tough week, they're the weeks that you should check in. The tough weeks are always the weeks that you should check in, because they're the weeks you need the most help. They're the weeks that you need the most support. And even if I don't have an answer to your specific challenge, because it's nothing to do with health, fitness, weight loss and self-care, the fact that you are prioritising yourself by spending 5 to 10 minutes to check in, to just share what's going on, also enables me to know in this group program how I can best support you. So if you are thinking, I'm not going to check in because I don't have any wins, I want you to reframe that to, I'm still going to check in because I still value myself and I still value this process and I want any support I can get. So that's just my little pep talk to anyone. And those of you that checked in, even though you didn't feel like you had any wins, well done. Okay, let's go through challenges and questions. And again, ladies, great challenges, great questions, really meaty stuff. I really enjoy doing these check-ins when you are really thinking about how you need help and support. So well done. I'm slurping again. This hot chocolate is divine. Okay, so first challenge, my weight loss is slowing down. I'm weighing every day. This is when it becomes hard and old habits creep in, like thinking I should eat less. I've enjoyed sourdough bread once this week, but I felt guilty about it. Okay, so for this person, you've had a big whoosh, a big drop in weight at the start of your journey, which is quite common. And your rate of loss may well slow down, which is also common, okay? Because you cannot expect to lose the amount of weight you have in the first week and a half every week. Because firstly, that's not healthy or sustainable. But also, I want you to recognise that in the past week and a half, you have eaten more food in terms of volume than you have ever before and lost weight. If you think about the methods you've used for weight loss in the past, you are eating more in terms of volume of food than you ever have, and you have still lost that much weight. And you are feeling good. You have acknowledged you are feeling good. You are feeling healthy. You are feeling energized. This tells you something. Okay, this tells you something. Let logical brain take over here, not emotional brain. If people haven't read The Chimp Paradox, have I got it behind me? No. If you haven't read The Chimp Paradox, I recommend you read it, because this is where chimp brain or emotional brain is saying, oh, my weight loss is slow, I need to do something to drastically change it. Whereas logical computer brain needs to engage and go, hold on, for the last 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks for this person, I have eaten more food, I've been less hungry and had more energy, and I've still lost weight. Logically, I need to trust this process. And I recognise when I say trust the process to you, that is a really hard thing for you to accept, because you have been let down by diets, you have been let down, maybe some of you have been let down by charlatan coaches that aren't as awesome as I am in the past. But I want to say to you, if you tick the boxes and you focus on the healthy habits and you focus on doing that 80 to 90% of the week, the weight will take care of itself. Okay, so this is where detaching from the scales is vital. Okay, so if you haven't, this is for everyone, if you haven't watched the What's Going On with the Scales video in Everfit, please make sure you do that. If you can't find it, please message me. And if you're listening to this and you're not part of my community and you think, oh, I need a bit of that, then you can come and join the community and then you will get a bit of that. So please make sure you watch that video. Your scale weight tells you and me nothing about your body fat. Absolutely nothing. I don't care if you have those scales that tell you how much body fat you have. They're wrong. They're not accurate. Yes, the scale weight gives you a general direction, but it tells you the collective weight of everything in and on your body. If I weighed myself, I'm wearing jeans, slippers, like quite heavy slippers, a sweatshirt, and I've eaten 2 meals and drunk lots of water today. If I stood on the scales first thing this morning when I got up, and then now, I would be probably a couple of pounds heavier. Have I put on a couple of pounds of body fat? Body fat, that is what we want to get rid of, body fat. Have I put on a couple of pounds of body fat since 5:30 this morning? No, I have not. I've just eaten. I am dressed. I have drunk nearly 2 litres of water, a coffee and a hot chocolate. Is that body fat? No, it's mainly liquid and food, and then my clothes. So those scales tell you nothing about your body fat. And if you watch the video I've just mentioned, you'll see some pictures of me. And you'll see a picture of me this year And in this picture of me this year, I weigh nearly a stone heavier than a picture I also share in that video of me in the first lockdown. I weigh a stone more now, okay? I look by far, in my opinion, and I've never shown anyone these pictures that says you don't look better now. But more importantly, I feel better, I have more energy, I'm sleeping better most of the time, I'm happier, my clothes fit better, I'm healthier, I'm healthier. I just climbed Snowdon, I'm training for a half marathon, I am healthier, yet I weigh nearly a stone more than I did in 2020. If you continue to obsess over the number on the scales, just as you've already acknowledged in your comments by saying this is when it becomes hard and old habits start creeping back in, you will hold yourself back. It is unreasonable, think of the word I'm using, to expect the scales to go down every week, let alone every day. Slurp. Because there are a multitude of reasons why the scales will fluctuate. Hormones, undigested food, how hydrated you are, how much you've trained, if you're stressed, if you've slept well, if you've been for a number 2. The scale will fluctuate because that's what scales do. That's normal. So you could, and I know someone else has mentioned this in their check-in as well, you could go to Weighing Monthly, and you know, I don't mind. You can weigh yourself either daily or monthly or not at all. Weighing yourself weekly is not helpful. It's not helpful because most of you, I had this conversation with a couple of my one-to-one clients this morning. Most of you weigh yourself on a Sunday. Some of my one-to-one clients weigh themselves on a Monday because they check in on different days. After having a bit more food at the weekend, because we all generally tend to eat a bit more food at the weekend, and that's not helpful. Weighing yourself once a week is not helpful, or randomly, you know, on a Sunday and then a Thursday. It's not helpful. It's pointless. I want you all to get to a point where you realise that the scales really aren't the be all and end all. But for some of you, you're really at the beginning of that part of your journey. So for this person in particular, you are on your second full week of this community. Tick the boxes, focus on how you feel. Like you said before, you were exhausted. Focus on learning how to fuel your body for the activity you want to be able to do. And focus on changing your mindset from feeling guilty about sourdough bread or rice or pasta or whatever to how much you enjoyed it. Because you should be eating carbs every day. With the goals that you have, with the activity that you do, you should be eating carbs every day. And it's my job to help you to remove that guilt and that mindset, because it's not serving you. Okay, so for anyone that is struggling with the scales, either weigh yourself every day and learn, you know, giving up weighing yourself every day after only 2 weeks of working with me is pointless. You've not given it a full month. I always say to people, weigh yourself every day for a month and watch those fluctuations through the month. And then if you want to drop down to weighing yourself once a month, or even better, never weighing yourself and just going by measurements and pictures, brilliant. But give it at least a month of weighing yourself every day. But stop expecting the scales to go down every day or every week, because they're not going to do that. Okay, so challenge from the next lady then. I've had meals out every day this week for my birthday. I had all intentions of picking good choices, but it all went out the window. I've had a fair few glasses of wine, which then made me pick. I didn't track my calories or plan my workouts. I didn't get out for walks as I didn't have time during the day, and the evenings are busy with the children. Then the baby hasn't been good this week, and I might have to I have to cut out all egg from my diet as well as dairy, so I'm finding getting protein in my diet even more tricky. Now I'm thinking of giving up breastfeeding and I'm feeling really emotional about it, which has also made me reach for comfort food, and the lack of sleep hasn't helped. Okay, so there is a lot going on in last week. Firstly, it was your birthday. Let's draw a line under it and move on. Birthdays are to be enjoyed. And what it sounds like is your birthday was enjoyed for a number of days, and then some emotional eating and tiredness eating crept in. Okay, it was a busy week. The planning didn't go to plan. That's okay. So what I want you to do is, if you haven't already planned your week, I want you to plan your week. Okay, what are your meals going to be? When are your walks? When are your workouts? You can still get your protein in without dairy and eggs. Lots of people do it, but it's even more reason to plan and prioritize that planning of your diet. Okay, so I want you to make a plan for the next 2 to 3 days and give yourself no excuses to stick to that plan. Make it simple for yourself by making breakfast and lunch the same things, quick and easy, and if you can, doing some prep for them ahead of time. There's no point beating yourself up about last week. It's done, it's finished. Let's start again with this week and find your way, okay? Give yourself a break. Be kinder to yourself. There's no beating yourself up here. Okay, next challenge, eating out when calories weren't on the menu. I tried picking healthier options but couldn't be sure of how much there was and how much sauce, etc. Okay, so use the portion control guide in these situations. So that will help you. It's in Everfit and it helps you to learn how to use your hand to control your portions. And that way, even though you can't control what portions the restaurant give you on your plate, you can say, well, I'm going to prioritise on that plate eating my protein and my veg, and then maybe I'm going to eat half my carbs if they've given you loads of carbs. Go for what has the highest protein that you can, and I always say this over looking at calories, because sometimes when restaurants have calories on the menu, if you compare something like a steak, which you could swap the chips out for some potatoes or salad, right? Compare something like a steak to something like a salad. Sometimes the salads are ridiculously high calories, really low in protein, and that's normally down to dressing. And actually you eat a salad at a restaurant and you go home feeling hungry, so you end up picking anyway. So you don't always have to go for the lowest calorie option on the menu, because quite often it won't be the most satisfying option on the menu. So go for what you think has the highest protein. Make sure you get your fruit and veg in, and try to stick to the 2 out of 4 rule where you can. So out of starter, main, dessert, or a glass of wine or an alcoholic drink, pick 2 of those 4. Don't have all 4. The calories on menus won't be accurate anyway, so don't let it stress you. Just make the best decision you can and don't worry about it, okay? Because not everywhere that we go is going to have calories on the menu anyway, because by law they don't have to. Okay, what is the next one? Where's it gone? Okay, not the best weekend for food, with going out for dinner on Friday, barbecue Saturday and takeaway Sunday. I kind of resorted to an all or nothing mentality where food was concerned, and used the excuse that I was being active and doing exercise so I could let my eating slip a bit. Okay, to me this just sounds like a social weekend. It sounds like it was just dinners, but only you know if it was breakfasts and lunches as well, okay? Now, it's true that if we go from Friday night through to Sunday night and we completely write off all of those meals, that is 42% of your week. So if you did write off Friday night through to Sunday night, that is a bit of an all or nothing mentality. But if breakfast and lunches were planned and aligned with your goals, just let it go as a more social weekend, okay? So I also want you to think, how did the weekend stack up in the big picture of the week in general, right? And this is a learning point for everyone about weekends, because I know a few of you are struggling with your weekends. And by the way, that's perfectly normal because we tend to have less structure, we're more social. But what can you keep the same at your weekends? Right? So what is it? Can you keep breakfast and lunches the same? Can you keep your exercise the same? You know, can you, if you know ahead of time that you're eating out Friday night, you're going to someone's barbecue on Saturday, and then you're planning to get a takeaway on Sunday, what decisions can you make ahead of time about what you are and aren't going to do at those 3 meals? And what decisions can you make ahead of time about breakfast and lunches on those days? Okay. So one weekend like this is fine, but if we continue to just write the whole weekend off, that is 42% of every week, and you will not get results that way. Okay. And then this person said, I used the excuse that I was being active and doing exercise so I could let my eating slip a bit. So just remember that the calories I give you factor in your activity level. They factor in the exercise. So if you are eating your exercise calories that MyFitnessPal gives you or your watch gives you, you are most likely overeating your calories. So using, oh, I've done some exercise as a reason to then overeat is not a fail-safe strategy. And actually we don't exercise in order to earn food or burn calories for food. So it's more the mindset of that than the actual act of doing it that I'm worried about. But draw a line, move on. Okay, I'm going to finish this hot chocolate, which actually has loads of chocolate powder at the bottom because I didn't stir it very well. Just used my spoon to stir it and it's gone all clumpy. Yeah, that's like a warm chocolate milkshake now because I didn't stir it properly. Never mind. Okay, so this person has said, I feel like I've actually had a really good week. Definitely need to plan my evening meals. The excuse I made was I was too busy to plan. So this person had 2 takeaways in the week because they didn't plan their evening meal for 2 of the days. Okay, so my question to this person is, when are you doing your planning? Because there's nothing wrong with takeaways, they're not banned, but ask yourself the question of, how long does it really take to plan your week? Really, truthfully, how long does it take? You know, I drove home from Snowdon yesterday. I was in Snowdon all weekend. I drove home, 6-hour drive home after an 8-hour climb the day before. It was a long old day yesterday and I didn't want to plan my week, but I made a commitment that this morning, so I'd already done the shopping before I went because I knew Tom and Charlie would obviously need to eat. I made a commitment that I would get up this morning, and before I did the live workout this morning, I planned what my week looked like when I was getting to the gym, when I was going running, when I was taking the dog for a walk. So how long does it really take to plan your week? Were you that busy? You know, 10, 15 minutes to plan your week? Look at your screen time. Did you spend more than 10 or 15 minutes last week on social media or watching TV or on WhatsApp or on YouTube or whatever? Do we class YouTube as social media? Don't know. Because if you did spend more than 10 or 15 minutes on social media or watching rubbish on TV, you had time to plan your week, because it really doesn't take that long. Okay, so in your commitments you said, I'm going to put some time aside to plan my week. Don't put some time aside to plan your week, just plan your week. Right, what I want is when you do these check-ins and you realise, oh, I've not planned my week, I didn't plan my week, and that's why a few meals went tits up last week. Okay, finish your check-in and then plan your week. Because you've taken 5-10 minutes to do your check-in, take another 5-10-15 minutes to plan your week, right? like a lot of you in this group use your Sunday morning check-in as like your habit stack to then plan your week, do your meal planning. So that's that's a great habit stack. Right, I've reflected on the week, I know what needs focus this week, now I'm going to plan my week. So there's an idea for you. So don't set some time aside to do it now. If you haven't done it, we're now on Monday afternoon. It will be Monday evening at the earliest by the time you listen to this. If you have not planned your week yet, whoever is listening to this, if you have not planned your week yet, do it now. Okay, yeah, so you've proved to yourself that winging it doesn't always work. So don't leave it to chance. Okay, next challenge / excuses. Yesterday I stayed out longer than planned in the afternoon with friends and I was subsequently starving and feeling lazy. I ended up not making the most nutritious meal choices with a cheese toasty, crisps and a glass of wine. I was only 150 calories over my total allowance, but I definitely could have chosen to put a bit more effort and made sure I had my 5 fruit and veg for the day. Okay, the thing I want to say to this person is, remember that you're all in roughly a 500 calorie deficit a day. So going over your calories will still, by 150, will still leave you in a deficit. It will just leave you in a slightly smaller deficit. Do you want to go over 150 calories every day? No, because your weight loss will be slower, your fat loss will be slower. But remember, you're in roughly a 500 calorie deficit. So that top range that I've given you is, that is not, that's it, I've gone over my calories and I'm not going to lose any body fat this week. You need to be ticking all of the boxes 80 to 90% of the time, but the calorie deficit I have given you is about 500 calories. Okay, no excuses this week. I have to admit it's been a pretty amazing week. Could have done a bit more movement, but I achieved what I set out to. So for this person specifically, I want to encourage you to get out for a daily walk. I've looked at your average steps on Everfit and they're lower than I would like them to be. And I know that getting out, whilst you tell yourself in your head you don't want to, I know it makes you feel better. So I would like you to make an effort this week to get out for a walk every day. And I want to remind everyone the importance of steps and general movement. Not just for weight loss, more specifically for your general health, because I had a couple of conversations with newer clients this week about, them finding it hard to get their steps in Monday to Friday. Could they, batch them all up at the weekend? And okay, it's good to have an average, but actually being more generally active every day is the preference and is more beneficial for your health. So those people that are more generally active and getting at least 8,000 steps a day are at lower risk of all-cause mortality, right? So you are at lower risk of any disease or illness that leads to premature death, right? Cardiovascular diseases, some cancers, type 2 diabetes, right? Being more generally active is going to help that. Okay, so it's important that you get your steps in for your health. If you're currently getting below 5k steps a day, I would love for you to think about how you can get these up a bit. Are you planning when you can go for a walk? Are you putting that in your diary? Are you sticking to it, or are you giving yourself excuses? Yes, the weather is rubbish, but it could be rubbish for the rest of the summer. Are you just going to stay in for the rest of the summer? Okay. Now for your weight loss, these steps and being generally more active is the best thing you can do to increase your energy expenditure and therefore keep you able to be eating the calories I've set you. So if you're doing less movement than I've set you, I'll need to reduce your calories, and that means less food. Okay, that's the bare facts of it. Okay, so someone has put here, there's nothing, no questions. No, what is it? The question was, where have you been getting in your own way or making excuses? And they've put nothing really, complacency. So it's time to analyse that complacency. So this person's commented before that you've coasted through your previous health. on your previous health, right? So I would like you to consider, question for you, what would you like your life to look like in 12 months? And if you continue to coast and be complacent, how will it look? So what do you want? Therefore, what actions do you need to take? But if you continue to coast and be complacent, what will you actually get? Okay, and then create some actions from that. Okie dokie. Right, some questions. So this person is starting one-to-one coaching with me on the 1st of May and has found themselves that they're not really tracking, their food choices haven't been great, and that they just have it in their head that they'll start properly on the 1st of May when they start one-to-one with me. So what I want to say to you is, why would you wait? Why be 1.5 weeks further away from your goals? How will that serve you? How will that make you feel any better? What's the benefit of waiting a week and a half? Time's going to pass anyway, and this is really applicable if it gets to Wednesday or Thursday and you start having a bad week and you think, oh, I'll start again on Monday. Time's going to pass anyway, so you may as well be doing something with it, right? So I just want you to ponder that. Next question, when will I know if I should lower my calories, and is there amount of weight per week I should be aiming to lose? Okay, so I'll tell you when you should lower your calories, and 2 weeks in isn't when. That's the first part of this. Now, a typical rate of loss is between 1 and 2 pounds per week, but everyone is different, and I've already given a whole big spiel about how the scale weight isn't the be all and end all. Okay, so there are some ladies in this community who lose nothing. There are a few ladies in this community who lose nothing for a few weeks, and then they have a big whoosh down, and their weight graph looks like steps going downwards, because they'll stay down, stay down, right? Everyone is different. But as I've already said, it doesn't actually matter, because your weight doesn't actually matter, and I will keep saying that to you. Now, for this person specifically, we have hugely changed the way you're eating and changed the way you are moving for the better. I just want to reiterate that, because actually my coaching isn't about making huge drastic changes, but for this person specifically, they were massively overtraining and massively under eating. So we have given this person more food to play with, and they're doing really, really well with doing that. Okay, I want you to remember, you are 2 weeks into this. We need to give it time, and you've already made amazing progress. Okay, I'm really enjoying the workouts, but should I be trying to get a bit more cardio? So this is quite typical of you as a specific person and where you've fallen down in the past. So you try to add to what you're doing too quickly, and then you can't maintain it. So you do it for a couple of weeks and then you fall off. I've looked at your average steps for the last week, and they're at around 5k. So I'd rather that you focused on 2 to 3 weights workouts per week, including your boot camp and your PT, and then pushing your steps up. I'd love you to aim to get to an average of 8k steps. So I've updated your steps as a goal in Everfit, and I want you'll be getting some cardio in your boot camps and your PT sessions and your Mum Boss sessions, but I want your steps to be your cardio, and then focus on 2 to 3 weights workouts a week. Okay. Next person, this is also a scales question. So for this person, everything I've said about the scales is relevant to you, but this was also a bit specific, so I wanted to answer this here as well. I've been thinking about my relationship with the scales as I started to weigh myself this week after a week or so break, and I'm not sure it's helping you. I'm getting focused on that number, which is still a number I don't want to see, and this gets to me. Do you think it would be better to switch to once per month, as there should be more of a difference with a bigger gap in between? So like I said, I've already talked a lot about the scales today. My preference is to get you to a place where you aren't bothered by that number, right? that you recognise that that number is a number that encapsulates everything within your skin, and if you've got a lot of hair, your hair as well, and as well as a whole load of hormonal, digestive and internal processes that you have no control over. So I don't ever recommend you weigh yourself once a week. It's pointless weighing yourself once a week for the reasons I've already said. You know, we tend to have more food at the weekend. We tend to be more social. So if you are weighing yourself on a Sunday or a Monday morning, that number is likely to always be elevated because of more food. Now, if we're taking breaks from weighing in because we had a weekend away or we were due on, you're then reinforcing that poor relationship. So my suggestion to you is either don't weigh yourself at all, weigh once a month, or weigh daily, because weighing daily teaches you about the normal and natural fluctuations of the scales that I've already mentioned in this podcast. Okay, so either no weighing, once a month weighing, or everyday weighing. And if you're going to everyday weigh, log it somewhere. Don't just rely on your memory. And then focus on the healthy habits and ticking the boxes. Now, I am happy for everyone in this community to stop weighing themselves. But if you're going to stop weighing yourself, you need to have other measures of progress. Okay? And those other measures of progress, which I've noticed this person hasn't been logging, are measurements. So tape measurements, progress pictures, how you're feeling, that's down to you to know, and you can note these in your check-ins. And also, you know, I know someone in the community has a skirt that they're using as their measure, right? Like an item of clothing that is a little bit too snug for you and you'd like it to fit a bit better in a couple of months' time. So focus on ticking the boxes 80 to 90% of the time, and the weight will take care of yourself. Focus on consistently being in your calorie deficit, on eating your protein, your fruit and veg, getting out for your walks, getting your workouts in, managing your stress, getting enough sleep, drinking your water. Tick the boxes and the weight will take care of itself. And use other measures of progress as well as the scales. It doesn't matter what you choose to do, whether you choose to do monthly, daily or no scales, you still need to have other measures of progress. Okay, and also for this person specifically, remember the wins that you've had so far in terms of losses and fitting into clothes that shocked you and surprised you. Okay. Okay, great question, this one. You talk about the fact you journal in some of your podcasts. Would you say this benefits weight loss, fitness, and if so, in what way? Okay, so the first thing to say is this is quite a personal journey, and everyone is different. You know, a few clients that I've worked with have not found journaling helpful. A few clients refuse to journal. But I personally have found journaling a huge benefit, not just in my weight loss and fitness, but in my self-care and personal development journey, which is why I wrote and published 2 journals. I am a huge advocate for it. The biggest benefits I've found personally and with my other clients are that it creates greater self-awareness, which has a huge impact on how you approach this journey. You start to notice patterns in yourself and your mindset, in your attitudes, in your behaviours around food and exercise and other things in life. So in terms of things like emotional eating, this can be a game changer. And then being able to unpick your complicated emotions and beliefs is huge. You know, those, for me, the days where I wake up just in a bit of a grumpy mood and I sit and journal, I always work out why. And normally it's not, you know, it's not someone else's fault, or it's just that this happened or that happened, or someone said this and I took it the wrong way. And actually that I've then allowed that emotion to rule my whole day. So helping you to manage your emotions is another huge benefit. Reflecting on how you're feeling about yourself is super useful, especially when you're hyper focused on the numbers. And, you know, today's podcast topic has shown me that still quite a few of you are hyper focused on the numbers. And also, the simple act of writing down what you're grateful for daily is so useful when you're feeling low or down or upset, because it helps remind you that not everything in life is going to shit, and there are some great things going on in your life to be happy about. So yeah, I'm a huge advocate for journaling. For those that try it, most people find it really useful. For some people it's not the one for them, and that's fine. I'm really struggling with breakfast, as I've kind of gone off Greek yogurt and sometimes need a quicker breakfast, so not cooking eggs. Any other suggestions that allow me to get protein intake? Okay, this is I say this a lot about food questions. It's a great question for the WhatsApp group, because as most of you know, I eat the same breakfast daily and pretty much the same lunch, and I love it and very rarely get bored of it. Look at the protein lists in your nutrition guide on Everfit, but some really quick ideas off the top of my head. Ready cooked chicken sausages, you could cook them the night before and they are super quick to have on the go, and then you could have that with a piece of fruit. Protein porridge if you've gone off of protein yogurt. A turkey rasher sandwich, I'm loving BLTs at the moment. A smoothie, protein pancakes. Now I know a few of my clients make protein pancakes ahead of time and then they just portion them up and then they microwave them quickly just to give them a little blast and warm them up, and then have them with some fruit and stuff. So there's some ideas for you, but I recommend you ask in the group for people to share some of their breakfast, because like I say, I eat the same thing every day because it makes my life easier and I love it. But I do understand what it gets like to get bored of a certain meal, so I do get that as well. Okay, great check-ins from everyone. Thank you so much. Don't forget, if you would like to know more about how you can join our community of amazing women, check the links in the show notes. Come and find me on social media. Have an awesome day, and I will speak to you on Wednesday. Mwah.